How many times have you found yourself as a driver or passenger on some pretty hairy roads? They might not have much clearance, or they're somewhere remote with not much room for error. Well, if you think they're bad, then consider driving on these. From the potholed roads of Greece to a dangerous mountain track, here are 15 of the world's most dangerous roads that actually exist. Number 15. Tianmen Winding Mountain Road. Exploring national parks is a fun pastime for many, but there can be a very fine line between fun pastime and near-death experience, especially when you find yourself exploring the Tianmen Mountain National Park. It is within this park in the northwestern Hunan province of China that you'll discover the Tianmen Shan Big Gate Road, or Tianmen Winding Mountain Road. This stretch of road is 11 kilometers or 6.8 miles from the very bottom to the top. Once you reach the highest point, you're 1,300 meters above sea level. The road took 8 years to complete and was opened to the public in 2006. It has 99 turns to symbolize the 9 palaces of heaven, and you have just mere feet before you plunge over the edge. This road is also narrow, winding, and has several narrow tunnels. It is not for the faint of heart. Sure, the scenery is beautiful, but there's no time to admire it as a driver. You gotta divide your time between managing your speed and making sure that you can navigate the hair-raising hairpin curves that offer very little room for error.
Before we go on, like this video, smash the subscribe button and click the notification bell right now, or this centipede will crawl on your face when you're sleeping.
Now, it's time for the star topic. The Carlsbad Caverns in New Mexico are, how do we put this? A little bit tricky. There's a road leading down into a dark cave, and this is where sulfuric acid dissolves the limestone. Honestly, it is as incredible as it looks. But just look at that tightly winding road down into the cavern. It appears to be well paved, but there isn't exactly a lot of clearance for a car. Do you think this is one of the world's most dangerous roads, or is it not a road at all? You be the judge. Comment down below with the hashtag StarTopic and let us know your opinion in relation to what we just showed on screen. With that said, let's keep things moving. Number 14. Padiopolo Pertikaki Road. In the northeastern part of Atolia Karnania in Greece, you'll not only discover dramatic scenery, but a very unforgiving road. This road is called Padiopoulo Pertikaki, and you're gonna need to take a spare pair of underwear to even attempt to drive on it. In fact, it is so dangerous that it's not even recommended that you do drive on it if you're paying a visit to Greece. The road is set into a mountain with incredibly dangerous drop-offs and points in the road that can send you plummeting hundreds or thousands of feet. It's also an unpaved road spanning 28.8 kilometers or 17.9 miles, along with an elevation gain of 2,706 feet. But it's not just the height you have to contend with, it's the challenges of the road, too. It's narrow, has no rails to protect you from falling off, and it's full of twists and turns. One moment of inattention could see you plummeting through the air to your death below. Given that visibility is often poor due to the mountainous mist and fog, it's in your best interest to not even attempt this road. Number 13. Ruta 5. When you see the straight, flat, and well-kept Ruta 5 road forming part of the Pan American Highway, you may wonder why it's one of the most dangerous roads in the world. There are no mountains to monitor, no perilous twists and turns, and, well, not much of anything. But it just looks like that. This road is not for the faint of heart because the terrain can change at the drop of a hat. This highway road starts from the Peruvian border and takes you north of Arica to Puerto Montt, where it then connects via a ferry to Chiloé Island. It is full of steep drops, desert, and deep valleys, all set along a 2,090-mile road. One minute, you can be bored out of your mind by the two boring paved roads with desert on either side, and the next, you can be navigating dense fog with zero visibility in the middle of a deep valley. There's simply no in-between. Surprisingly, the speed limit is 100 kilometers per hour, or 62 miles, which means it's easy to think that you can travel the whole road at that speed. The memorials on the sides of the road dedicated to those who have lost their lives on it are proof that you can't. Number 12. Fairy Meadows Road. Roads that have not been maintained by road working crews can fall into a state of disrepair within months. So you can only imagine what Fairy Meadows Road in the Gilgit-Baltistan region of Pakistan is like after not having seen any form of repair since Nanga Parbat mountain villagers built it hundreds of years ago. It is for that reason, and a few others, that it's easily considered one of the most dangerous roads in the world. This road does, of course, provide some spectacular views, but you're not going to have time to admire them while you're trying to stay alive. The 16.2 kilometer road is purely gravel, and it's not exactly even. Your vehicle will be bucking like a bronco as you navigate the narrow roads with no guardrails to stop you from cascading over the edge. The more of the road you travel, the higher you get, until you're eventually 3,300 meters above sea level. The road then gets so narrow that you have to cover the last part of it on a bicycle or by foot. Oh, and you're also having to try to avoid hitting other vehicles since this road is actually quite busy. So good luck. Number 11. Luxor Al Hurghada Road. Even though the road linking the ancient city of Luxor to Hurghada has seen several improvements in recent years to make it safer, it is still a road that requires your full attention. The 188-mile or 303-kilometer paved road is a popular route for tourists wanting to travel to the Red Sea coast, which is famous for scuba diving. Even though the road looks reasonably safe to drive on, it is not always as it seems. It has been responsible for several head-on collisions and even plenty of fatal accidents. If you're not trying to avoid getting into an accident, you're on the lookout for bandits and extremist militiamen who hide out in the terrain. Then there's the fact that road rules don't seem to apply. You're essentially just winging it and hoping for the best. Fortunately, the improved safety of the tarmac road, better marking, and security agents patrolling it means that it's definitely a lot safer than it was. Still, you wouldn't want to travel the road at night when no one seems to travel with care and the danger of altercations with bandits increases. Number 10. Guoliang Tunnel Road. The village of Guoliang is carved into the Tiahang Mountains in the Henan province of China. In the early years, the only way villagers could enter civilization was by traveling through a challenging path they had carved into the mountainside. To make it easier to live their day-to-day lives, villagers led by Shen Mingxin decided to carve a road. By selling livestock to buy tools and materials, 13 villagers spent hours each day from 1972 until 1977 carving out a 1.2 kilometer or 0.75 mile long road. It's just 16 feet tall and 13 feet wide, with only enough room for one-way traffic. Because they didn't have access to power tools, they had to rely on hammers and chisels. Sometimes it was so challenging that they were only able to progress the tunnel road at a rate of 1 meter every 3 days. Today, the Guoliang Tunnel Road is a scenic route and tourist attraction, although it is not for the faint of heart. Even though there are windows in the tunnel, it's a scary place to be, especially if you find yourself coming face to face with another vehicle. There's simply no room to pass. Number 9. Vesuvio. One of the most spectacular mountain roads in Italy and even the world is Vesuvio. But as stunning as it is also incredibly dangerous. So much so that locals and even visitors prefer to navigate it by motorbike or bicycle rather than car. The road is located on Vicenza, which is a mountainous region known for its dramatic beauty. It's well worth a photo opportunity, but only if you can stomach the journey to get to the best photo spots. Unlike other dangerous roads, this one does have barriers in some places, but not all. You've also got to navigate sharp turns, hairy corners, and narrow, slippery roads that don't offer road users much confidence. There's also one part of the road that's more dangerous than the rest. There are rocks everywhere, a small tunnel, and no barriers. So if you make one wrong move, you can end up flying over the edge to your immediate death. Local residents say that the mountain trail was constructed thousands of years ago. Since cars were invented, the road has been slightly improved, but we're gonna go out on a limb here and say not by much. Number 8. Highway of Death. The BR-116 in Brazil is the second longest highway in the country and runs 2,700 miles from Brazil's north to its south. It's also one of the most important highways in the country, given that it links Fortaleza in Ceará state with Jaguaro that lies near the Uruguay border. It sees the highest concentration of trucks out of most other roads in Brazil, and it has the unfortunate title of being known for its child-related crimes. But we won't get into that here. Instead, we'll focus on why BR-116 gets the nickname of the Highway to Hell, or Highway of Death. Both are pretty apt titles. The area is known for its unstable weather conditions, and these can wreak havoc on drivers of this road. So many accidents happen on this road due to both the weather and the amount of traffic, particularly trucks. The road also has several obstacles you have to combat, such as tight corners, unpredictable terrain, unpaved and paved roads, steep cliffs, and more. It's a real mixed bag, and you never know whether you're gonna have a comfortable drive around one corner or a harrowing one around the next. Number 7. Taroko Gorge Road. If you're on holiday to Taiwan and your tour bus is destined for Taroko Gorge Road, take a moment to ponder how much you value living. This road is so dangerous that it's easy to wonder whether you'll even make it out alive. The road is narrow, which is bad enough, but then you combine that narrow road with typhoon season, heavy wind and rain, rock fall from the mountain, and seismic activity, and you got a recipe for disaster. Every typhoon season, debris falls from the walls onto the road, which means you got obstacles during the day and night to combat. The road is also constantly falling into disrepair from rock slides and landslides, which can be incredibly concerning given the number of blind corners you'll face. Hairpin turns, single-lane tunnels, and a dramatic drop into the Liwu River below can all be enough to make you say no thanks when a trip down Taroko Gorge Road is offered. And yet, the road is always busy. Even though only one tour bus can pass through a tunnel at a time, it's always packed with buses, cars, scooters, and pedestrians. My heart's racing just thinking about it. Number 6. Stelvio Pass Road. Stelvio Pass Road in Italy is a mountain pass road that sits over 9,000 feet above sea level. It's located between Stilfs in South Tyrol and Bormio and Sondrio in the Ortler Alps of Italy. Oh, that sentence was a mouthful. Sure, driving on this road will be an incredible memory to look back on, but you'll likely want the experience to end while you're driving. The road is, well, it's something else. It has 48 hairpin turns you have to navigate in between trying to make sure you remain on the narrow road while combating the steep inclines. There's no denying it is one of the most breathtaking road passes in Europe, but it's also a high accident zone. Vehicles literally have to zigzag their way up and down, and it's so dangerous that locals have been called homicidal. There are parts of the road that are easier to drive on than others, so it pays not to overestimate your driving ability when deciding which routes to take. Because if you do, one wrong move on these challenging roads that only have low concrete barriers could see it being the last road you ever drive on. Number 5. Trans-Siberian Highway. If you're going on a road trip in Russia, you'll likely find yourself traveling on the Trans-Siberian Highway. This network of 7 federal highways spans over 6,800 miles from St. Petersburg on the Baltic Sea to Vladivostok on the Pacific Ocean or Sea of Japan. It sounds like a nice, leisurely trip to embark on, but it can actually be anything but. The Trans-Siberian Highway is one of the longest national highways in the world, so it pays to expect the unexpected when you're traveling such a long distance. One minute, you could be driving on a smoothly paved road with easy flowing traffic, and the next, you could be facing tough roads nestled between dense forests with nowhere to pull over or pass other cars. Then there's those traveling with you. Some drivers can navigate the roads at dangerous speeds in cars that seem too dangerous to even be on the road. This, combined with some police corruption, can see this highway as one that you need to traverse with the utmost care. Take your time, use a dash cam, and we wish you good luck. Number 4. Road of Death. North Yungas Road in Bolivia is often referred to as Death Road. It's no longer as dangerous as it once was, but it definitely deserves the title of being one of the most hazardous roads in existence. If it's not the fog that makes driving on this 43-mile mountainous road dangerous, then it's the 2,000-foot cliff drops, landslides, and cascades. Up until 1994, it claimed the lives of at least 300 people every year. The road was cut out of the mountain in the 1930s by Paraguayan prisoners. It was created to connect La Paz, Bolivia's capital, to a town called Coroico. From La Paz, you can experience the road climbing to around 5,260 feet before another 3,900-foot rise. The road then takes you through mountainous terrain from the capital city to the Amazon rainforest. North Yungas Road is, or at least used to be, incredibly narrow. Trucks and buses used to try and take their wares on it to get to town, only to find that the hairpins proved too tight to navigate. As a result, many people found themselves plummeting to their death. Fortunately, in 2009, the government created a new, much safer road that has 2 lanes and gets maintained. Now, the Road of Death is mostly used by backpackers, cyclists, and local workers. Number 3. Dalton Highway. The Dalton Highway probably sounds familiar to you. Not only is it broadly talked about on the TV show Ice Road Truckers, but it also featured on the British TV series World's Most Dangerous Roads, and they weren't exaggerating. The Dalton Highway is the only road between Alaska's most populated areas and the Arctic North where oil rigs are. It is isolated with no signs of life along the 667-kilometer road, no cell phone coverage, and no cafes. The road is mostly unpaved, and the only way to describe it is as a rough, industrial road. Your only saving grace is 3 gas stations. From Dead Horse to the nearest gas station and cafe in Coldfoot, it is a 7-hour drive. If you must travel on this highway, you have to be prepared. Survival gear is encouraged, or you can find yourself stranded in sub-zero temperatures for hours, if not days. In some parts, there is 0 visibility, and you're fighting that while knowing that there are massive potholes ready to swallow up your vehicle. As a result, the speed limit is 50 miles per hour. Number 2. Zojila Road. If you're exploring India in the Kargil district of Ladakh, you may have heard people talking about the Zojila Road, and for good reason. It is well known for being one of the most dangerous roads in the world. It's a high mountain pass that sits at over 11,500 feet above sea level. It is a treacherous road, to say the least, with winding roads so narrow that only a single car can fit through some parts of the road at a time. This road is essential, though, as it connects Ahmed Leh in the western Himalayan mountain ranges and forms an essential link between Ladakh and Kashmir. Given how uneven the road surfaces are, a 4-wheel drive vehicle is recommended. But after a storm, even this kind of vehicle can struggle to navigate the mud. You're also often left to face high winds and heavy snow, making the road impassable for much of winter. But even when the sun is shining, you can't get complacent. One wrong move, and no barriers are there to protect you from falling over the edge to your death. I think I'll stick to the main roads. Number 1. Les Passages du Gois. How many roads can you think of that flood twice a day, allowing no one to pass? That's why Les Passages du Gois is so unique. It is a treacherous 4.5-kilometer stretch of road that takes you from Beauvoir-sur-Mer on the French mainland to the island of Noirmoutier. It is a world-famous stretch of road that you can only drive for a few hours each day before the island is naturally sealed off. Often, all you see is 13-foot-high waves, and it's hard to imagine that just a few hours prior it was a well-maintained road you could drive on. So why is the road dangerous? Well, if you get the timing wrong, you're in big trouble. There is such a small margin of error, and you may not be able to reach dry land until you're up to your neck in water. Fortunately, you don't have to rely on guesswork to know if you can drive on the road. Digital panels tell people whether the road is passable at certain times while also offering sea level warnings. Still, people become trapped most years, and some even die. From a health and safety perspective, some of these white-knuckle roads don't seem like they should be open at all. Imagine driving while knowing that you could be dead at any minute. What a terrifying thought. What is the most dangerous road you have ever been on, either as a passenger or a driver? Also, check out our other cool stuff showing up on screen right now. See you next time.